In the previous video, we used determinants to solve a system of equations. This is actually called Cramer's rule. I wanted to give a couple of examples before we moved on. So here we have another system of equations. So that creates for us a matrix of 5 using the coefficients -3 and 2, -6, and that will be equal to 19 and -2 respectively. Then we want to create our D. We also want to create our D of x and our D of y to sum. Our D is just the determinant of the coefficients 5, -3, 2, -6. Our D of x is we're going to replace the x values with our constants 19 and -2. We'll keep the y values -3, -6. Our D of y is we will replace the y values this time with 19 and -2, and we will keep the x values 5 and 2. We'll keep those together. So again, we will cross multiply. 5 times a -6 is a -30, and we're going to subtract from that -3 times 2, which will be a minus a -6. -30 minus a -6 is the same as saying -30 plus 6, or 24, and that's a -24. So that's our D. Our D of x will be 19 times a -6 will be a -114, and we'll subtract from that. Negative times a negative is a positive. 3 times 2 is 6. So a -114 minus 6 gives me a -120. And then our D of x here, D of y, sorry, will be 5 times -2, or a -10, -10. Then we will subtract from that. 2 times 19 is 38. So that will be a -48. So there's our determinants. All we have to do now is substitute those into D of x divided by D and D of y divided by D, and that will give us our solution to the system. So D of x was a -120. We want to divide from that a -24. D of y was 48. And we want to divide from that a -24. So we will get, take another look. 48 is negative. Okay. So a negative divided by a negative is a positive. 120 divided by 24 is 5. -48 divided by -24 is 2, and that's the solution. Check. Now what I'd like to do is try a system that doesn't have an integer solution. So the last couple we were lucky to see integers for our x and our y. This time we're going to come up with fractions, and we all know how much we like to deal with fractions. But because the ratio is built right into the solution, remember that our solution is D of x over D by D of y over D. That's our solution. The fraction's already built in there. So let's just find our determinants and then do those ratios. You should be able to recognize how I set the determinants up. If not, pause and take a look at the previous video so you can see how to set up a determinant. Here's our common determinant in magenta. The yellows are our x determinant and our y determinant. So let's go ahead and do the determinizing. Let's see. 5 times 7 is 35. I want to subtract from that. Negative times a negative is a positive. 9 times 3 is 27. So it's 37 minus 27. 35 minus 27. Get the old trusty calculator out. Minus 27. And that gives me 8. Cool. That's our common determinant. That's what's going to be in the denominator of our solution. So let's find the x now. 7 times 7 is 49. We're going to subtract from that. Negative times a negative is a positive. 45, and that will give us 4. So I've got 4 over 8. Now let's take a look at our y. 25, 5 times 5 is 25. That'll be a negative 25 minus a negative 21, or negative 25 plus 21, which is also 4. So our solution set here will be 1/2, 1/2. See how that was built right into the expression for us? All we had to do was find the determinants, create the ratio, and then reduce. So that's how you solve a two variable system with determinants.